Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back into the Dragon's Den. My name is Digital Dragon, and I'm a 3D printing variety streamer here on Twitch. I hope everybody's doing well today. Give me 1 second, and I will be right back. Hey, Mr. Wizix, I'll be right back. I just left my coffee downstairs. 1 second. It was a pretty heinous crime. Make coffee and then walk away. How can we have a night in the Dragon Den without coffee? Especially coffee by one of the newest, or in the mug by one of the newest Twitch partners. Oh, yeah, that is important. We cannot forget that. All done in a time or two. Yes, we have. Yes, we have. So, how are you doing today, Mr. Wizix? Hopefully, you're doing well. I've been doing pretty good, as you can hear, possibly. It's quiet in here. I've got no printers running right now, which is a little weird, but we had the rat rig printing most of the day, and we'll get into some of those prints here in a minute. But yes, Pez Liz, for those of you that don't know, Pez Liz did make partner this week, earlier in the week. I believe it was on Tuesday. So awesome progress on work code. Great, Mr. Wizix. What language are you coding in? Just out of curiosity. I have been doing some training on Python. Okay. I've been doing some training. They're doing a hackathon, and it's supposed to be all things AI, which, as a cybersecurity professional, let me tell you, that is like just sends a shiver down my spine when everybody starts talking about AI, and especially AI supported coding. So I decided that I would get involved and take a look into some of the AI specific stuff that we're using, which in this case is GitHub Copilot and a few others. So I was really interested in looking into the GitHub Copilot stuff to see how it can be secured, what it supports from a security stack standpoint, and stuff like that. Well, yeah. Now here's the other thing with the AI code, right? It's all about prompt engineering, meaning how you ask it questions, what resources it has available to it to look at and help define its answers is definitely going to be worthwhile. Like, you'll get better answers if like hey, I'm trying to expand this module or whatever. Depending on if it can access the repo that you're pulling everything from, or the tabs that you have open in your IDE, or any other documentation that you can feed into it, it will get you a better response and a more accurate and scoped response. But if that's the other thing, is we're using an enterprise version, which means it's not all open source code, because once again, garbage in, garbage out, and you can't guarantee that code, hell, you can't even guarantee that your own internal code is compliant with the current or latest secure coding standard for your company, especially if you're reaching back into code that's been written for the last 15, 20 years. Hey, Eagle the Dragon, welcome in. How are you doing, brother? Hello, Petty Ruxpin. How are you doing this evening? Hope you're doing well. I'm kind of slow rolling a little bit here because it seemed like, well, I was a little bit late to the party, and then I got up here, said go, and then looked down and went to reach for my coffee cup and realized that the coffee I had just made, I left downstairs. And we can't do that when we're rocking a Pez Liz cup in his house. She just, we're rocking this because she just made partner, and I'd be rocking my Pez Liz t-shirt, but it's in the dirty laundry. I wasn't going to put that on. But yeah, so I wanted to start the night off just going through because I was a little bit late getting everything started today, because I've been waiting on a package, and of course it's like anywhere between 3:45 and 6:45. So I've been tracking this UPS guy driving around in my vicinity for the last hour plus, and he finally made it to the house. And the reason I was worried is because it's got my new I was up for a laptop refresh for work. So it's got my new laptop and I have to sign for that. So I'm like, oh crap. So he just came right as I was making coffee before the stream. So that would be why I forgot about it. Oh, your week's done? Awesome. I've got one more day, but it's a 3-day weekend because Monday is what is Monday? Martin Luther King Day? I think that's right. Yeah, Monday is a holiday for us in the US. So if your company allows that, great. But I'll have a 3-day weekend, which is even perfect. Yeah, Martin Luther King Day, because Saturday and Sunday is NFL football, and then Monday is the college football championship between Notre Dame and the Ohio State. So I get to watch football all weekend, except for Saturday. Well, Saturday morning, we've got we've got what? Here, let me put that up in case people haven't heard it enough. Yes, Saturday morning, we will be having the Digital Dragon 72 Twitch anniversary giveaway stream. We will be starting the stream at 10. We're going to probably wait an hour before we start doing any of the giveaways, just because people kind of roll in a little bit early or a little bit later on Saturdays. And I am, well aware that 10 a.m. East Coast is what, 6 a.m. No, 7 a.m. over on the West Coast. So I don't like getting up at 7 a.m. on Saturdays. Kind of get up at 8. So, I'll give it a little bit. But yes, we have a bunch of gift cards from West 3D. We've got some spools of filament from Polymaker. We have gift cards from KB3D, as well as 5 sets of deburring tools and 2 sets of the reamers, and a nice little laser cut wooden case that you get to put together for them as well. Betis is providing 2 of their Apus 2 extruders. Fabrico, we've got a gift card. We've got a trying to think, a LDO Nighthawk stealth burner board set. And then we also have a Rook kit from Fabrico. And then of course, LDO motors, we've got a Orbiter 3, a set of 4 BD power motors, and a box turtle kit. And of course, we're going to say this a couple more times. Haven't posted this yet, but if we complete a level 10 hype train on Saturday, I will be taking a tablespoonful, like a heaping, like scoop it out, of spicy habanero salsa from Pex Peppers, and I will open up another form that will be for a Solval SV06, not the newer Ace version, but a Solval SV06 that I will be sending out. Everything, all physical products are US only except for the Fetus Apus 2 extruders. Fetus is still going to send those worldwide. All the other physical products are US only. That's the limitation of the manufacturers or the sponsors. And same thing for me. Polymaker will be 10 spools of filament. If you're US or Canada, you'll get the form and you'll get the coupon code. If you're anywhere else, you'll send what you want and they will send it to you directly. I'm not sure. I don't think those were cut with Chris's pecker. I think Chris uses the laser pecker on other things, bigger things. I think all of those are the ones for the reamer and the drill bits, I believe, are cut out on one of his bigger cable lasers. And welcome on in, West 3-1. I did see that you rated with a party of 12, but I was trying to get through that list there. How you doing, sis? I hope you're doing well today. Hey, Pete, how's it going? Yeah, Polymaker is international, and that's why I said the physical products that are being shipped out. But yeah, you're right. Polymaker is always international. Once again, if you're in the US or Canada, you'll get a coupon code. You'll do your thing. If you're anywhere else, you fill out a form, tell them what you want, and then once a week, Joel says he like batch or bulk does those once a week and gets those shipped out. So yeah, more plastics. Yeah, he saves his pecker for other things, the special things, the metal thing. Especially since he got in trouble and had to get his pecker replaced for overuse. For those of you that don't know, he was using his laser pecker to brave all of the, or not all of them, but a lot of the metal parts for the black box builds. And I think it was on mine that it actually killed the laser because he was doing them one right after the other and just ran it too long and overheated. Just a test stream and to show you were still alive. Well, you know, proof of life is always good, sis. Proof of life is always good. And, you know, I love to see that you're alive. And thank you for sending me those things via Instagram. They were very timely and good. You got to take care of it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he broke it for overuse. He drove it too hard and too fast and burned it out. You printed a Fibron PA6 glass-filled 25 chamber heater case. Yes. I printed, this is, let me switch this over here to the bench. This is, well, pre-Fibron, but it's basically the Fibron. This is the PA612 carbon fiber. So this is the 612 blend nylon with carbon fiber. And this, once again, is a fan shroud that'll sit over the top of the heater in Dragoon 1, just to basically point it out towards the chamber versus going straight up the sidewall of the chamber. You seem to always miss Chris. Chris came on the stream Tuesday. It was about the time I was about to sign off. And then he came in, so I started chatting with him. And then I was planning on raiding out to Pez Liz, and then Liz raided into me. So I was like, well, I can't raid into Liz. So he kept going for a little bit. Did glass filled because carbon filled is conductive. It would not be good with an AC heat. Gotcha. Gotcha. So what, where are we at? Oh, I wanted to go through and just, you know, one of the things is we got some stuff in today. We got some things, I know it's going to be crazy. I got 2 packages from KB3D of stuff that I ordered. So interestingly enough, we know that we've got the Rat Rig IDEX kit here, right? So this is the Rat Rig IDEX kit. And the Rat Rig IDEX kit I got with the parts. It comes with the Fadus extruder and, or with the Fadus and the orbiter. Now, the orbiter that's on it is an orbiter 2. The new one that came is the 2.5. I'm really not sure what the difference is between the 2 and 2.5. I think it's just the actual like filament drive gear and the idler is a little bit different. Um, but I'm not sure if it's worth like getting one and swapping. So I might just so that they're both the 2.5. However, shortly afterwards, they came out and said that they also have upgrades to the filament sensors so that you can run the filament sensors on them. So rather than buying the filament sensors from Rat Rig and waiting for them to ship over and pay a little bit more anyhow, I did go ahead and pick up a couple. So I do have the filament sensors here as well. So when we go to do the IDEX upgrade, we're going to put the filament runout sensors on there. Now these are the Orbiter 2 smart sensors. So they not only do filament runout, but they also do like tangle detection as well. So if it stops feeding, it will stop, which will be good, and I'll explain to you why. So that's, I'm just going to go ahead and put these in the box, but those came in today. What else came in today? We got some Revo nozzles. Now, I ordered a couple of Revo nozzles from KB3D for a very specific purpose. The load unload macro, yes. So I've got orbiters on a couple of printers, and I love that the one of them that I had on the printer was the one that always went to the KB3D booth. So it was the what I call it. I called it Orange Dragon, and it because it always went to the KB3D booth. Well, that particular Rook 2020 was the Mark I version of the Rook 2020, and I had a orbiter on it, which was perfect because you put filament in it, and it just loads, right? It senses it, it pulls it in, it heats everything up, and then it loads the filament. Beautiful, love it. And when you're done with the show, you don't have to sit there and mess with any interface, whatever. You just push the button, and it heats up and does a filament retract, and boom, you're done. It's perfect for anything that's a show printer, right? And I love it for that. But what I wanted to do was give myself an option because I'm working with some miniatures. So I wanted to try 3D printing miniatures. Like we've done some miniatures, right? And this is a Free Heathen one that I actually made a little bit bigger. This is pretty cool because it's got my dragon logo on the chest. It's got a coffee mug and everything. And there's actually, or no, this is the coffee mug. This is the one that was actually made that'll hold a Allen key. There's another one that he did that has like my digital dragon logo in like 3 or 4 places to include on a coffee mug. So that was kind of cool. But this was actually a little bit bigger so I could 3D print it easier. But I picked up a 0.2 nozzle and a 0.15 Revo nozzle. So I'm going to try and use these to print um, some miniatures on either the Mark IV or maybe even the Prusa Mini and just check it out. I also, because I've got some nozzles from Fadis to try out on the Creality, which is one of the reasons why I bought the Creality K1C in the first place. But I also went and picked up a couple of 0.2 millimeter nozzles for that machine. Now these aren't hardened or anything like that, but these will be to try and print minis out on it to see if I can get really smaller stuff. And these will just be like straight, like plain gray or black PLA. Nothing with glitter. These will have to be just straight plain PLA. Anything more than that, and either any of these are going to probably if it's got glitter or anything in it, it's almost like a guaranteed clog, right? So yeah, no glitter in those whatsoever. Those will have to be just basic, basic, basic plain PLA. The other thing that came in today, and Zombie, these are those newer style end stops that we need uh, for the box turtle rebuild. So these came in, and I did get some more of the tiny bearings that we use for this as well that came in, just in case I can't find the other ones that I have around here, because God knows I lose bearings all the time. I do lose my bearings all the time. You go to bed early, but you love Chris's streams. Has he been streaming lately? Because I haven't seen any notifications of Chris streaming. So if he's streaming, then I'm missing his streams. And not just his streams, but the stream announcement too. Um, yeah. So those, what did I just do with them? See, um, they went with these. These are a little bit different. Let me pull them out. Um, these are a little bit different, but these are like Omron D2 HWC01s or something like that. But Chris has them. Okay. And it's these plungers right here. And these are very satisfying to click once, by the way, but they have a better tolerance. So when you do this with a tiny bearing, um, and we're not using a spherical bearing, we're using a standard bearing like that, only a lot smaller. It's like the little three. It's the same ones that we use at the front for the loading bearings. Same bearings. We're just using them with the 4 extruders and the one that goes in the 4-into-1 hub. So we're using 5 of these in each build. So I bought 10 so I can update 2 builds. Um, so now that I've got all the physical parts, I need to get off my butt, and maybe that's what I'll do, is spend this long weekend printing all of the parts so that I can tear one down and start rebuilding it for you to get it in the mail. So sooner rather than later. I know you've got, nothing else on your plate to work on in the meantime. And then I was hoping that Keela was here, but we'll have to mention this if she pops in later on. But this is the filament that I want on Keela's stream. Apparently, I got the signature from looks like Daniel. It was a giveaway, so that's kind of cool. I love how they sign their things. I got to remember that if I start shipping stuff out. But this is the matte ABS in Galactic Black. That's the Galactic Black matte ABS. Oh, don't go anywhere just yet, Zombie. Don't go anywhere just yet. Because that, I gotta be careful I don't dox myself. That goes with this other box from West 3D that I got. And I know that you will like this box. So there's the matte black. I figured free, might as well try a different color out that I'm not used to. But I also have this other box that's been sitting over in the corner for a bit. Now, how come my giveaway box didn't come with a thing? How about that, Zombie? Yeah. So I picked up 4 more spools of the Galactic Midnight Meteorite. You are right. This color is amazing. That color, which goes up like crud. Let me see if the main view will make it any better. But this color here is a beautiful color. And so I picked up like 4 more spools of it. Your second favorite spool behind your red? Yeah. It is a perfect color, and I am, you know, in fact, let me just pull these out. I've got another filament rack because I realized that, well, one wasn't going to be enough, and yeah, so I've got a second filament rack. I built it. It's sitting downstairs. I just need to bring it upstairs, and I'm going to put it over. I'm going to put it over here. I need to clean some stuff up down there. I'm going to take this light out and I'll put that other rack right over there. But that's probably going to happen either right before or right after we do the IDEX upgrade on the rat rig. And speaking of the rat rig, we've used the rat rig lately. Before we bring a printer up here, hey Chewy, how's it going? 50 to 60 seconds in the color wheel. There you go. Hey, Chewy, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for the 5 gifted subs there. Now, Fiverr, how many was that? Wow. Hey, yeah, 5 tier 1 subs. It just showed up twice on here. So thank you for the 5 gifted subs there, Chewy. R2 Builder, Florida Human, Sylvanus, Stay Creepin'. Where'd the other one go? And Crash Controls. There we go. Wow. Yeah, two. Thanks. Now remember, hold on to some of that until Saturday, because on Saturday, if we complete a level 10 hype train on Saturday during the streamiversary stream, I'm going to open up a new form for a special giveaway, and I'm going to take not a teaspoon, but a tablespoon full of Pex Peppers spicy habanero salsa, and then I'll we'll open up another giveaway, and that giveaway will be for a Solval SB06 printer, US only. And Keela, I'm glad you're here. So we got in the filament that I want on your stream. Once again, this is it looks, the hell with it. I'll open it up, and I am going to stab it because this is not a resealable bag. But yeah, it is so dry in my house right now that I'm shocking myself on the printers. But this is the Galactic Black Matte ABS. Right? So this is a matte ABS Galactic Black. So it's different than their standard black ABS because it's going to be that matte color. It's not going to be shiny. So I'm looking forward to using this on something. Yes, some ambrosia. Some ambrosia. Special from Print and Play Keela's Way. All right. Let me put this down here somewhere. I'm so confused. I've got, I'm like, where am I putting all of my ABS? All my ABS is over here in the corner. So I'll put this over here for the time. Okay. So yeah, how's it going, Keela? Welcome, welcome in. Um, Hope you're doing well. We're drinking out of our Liz cup today to celebrate her partner. She made partner on Tuesday. I'd be wearing my Liz shirt, but it's in the laundry. You love the matte colors? Yeah. Now, I will say, Keely, you got to talk to Daniel. I'm a little upset. So the filament I bought came with the sucker, but the filament that I won during your giveaway, I did not get a sucker. That's okay. I don't need. I found some bags of these during Halloween here, so I picked up like 3 bags. These caramel apple pops are like another mad candy that I love now, apparently. AC Garecki Designs, welcome on in. We're doing good. We're doing good. So, on our last stream, we've been working on doing uh, a triple lead screw mod for the uh, for the Ender XY. So this is a Core XY conversion for an Ender, and that was not the way I wanted it to. Still not the way. Still not the way. We'll just leave it. Sorry. So I'm going to switch over to full display. By the way, we had a level 2 hype train that was going on. Thank you to um, Chewy for the 5 gifted subs, and Mr. Wizix and Zombie for 200 bits. Really do appreciate that. Like I said, hold on to some of that because Saturday, you know, we complete a level 10 hype train on stream, and I'm going to be opening up for another printer. So, which Ender? This is an Ender 3, OG Ender 3 that was converted into the EnderXY by Additiva 3D. Um, it had a wobbly bed because of the way they designed it. The bed, as it goes up and down, tends to wobble some. So, of course, trying to get a good bed level and keeping bed level bad, right? So, what time's your stream Saturday? I'm starting at 10 a.m. I will have some giveaways throughout the day. I know you guys are streaming on Saturday as well. Do you guys start at noon normally, right? Hey, Playgrade, welcome on in. Um, but we're not going to start any giveaways right when the stream starts, just because I know it's Saturday morning. It's like 7 a.m. the West Coast when I start streaming. So I'm going to give people some time. And Mrs. Dragon and me are going to be working over the next day to try and kind of figure out how to break things up so that we're giving, some of the smaller stuff away, and then, some of the bigger stuff. So it's not like uh, all or nothing right in one shot. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I tend to do a longer stream. I keep trying to jump into your stream or jump over to YouTube and catch you guys, and I'm normally watching the replays. So you need to wait till the afternoon so you can get all my stuff in the truck before the good stuff is gonna. Okay, so we've been working on this mod, and what this mod does, at the very least, is add this third lead screw in the back here. Um, these front um, bed supports are optional. You can keep the CNC machined ones that I have somewhere around here. Oh, there. You can keep the CNC machine ones if you want. I chose not to. I chose to go with the printed ones because I kind of like them. I think they look pretty cool. So we've got all that stuff um, taken care of, and now we're like, okay, we need to work on the electronics. Well, it only comes with, or it's made to be a conversion. So the anticipation or the expectation would be you would use the standard Creality board, right? or at the time that you buy the kit, you can buy an SKR Mini E3V3 board, which I did get, but I did decide that I wanted to do Z tilt adjust, which means I can't have both Z motors running off the same stepper. So I need 5 steppers. So I put in a SKR 3EZ board, which also had a CB1 module on it, and we had it working that way. And I was going to clean up the wiring once we verified that everything was good, and it wasn't because of the bed issue. So it just went on the shelf and was dust. So now that we've got the triple lead screw physically installed, we need to work on electronics, and we need to upgrade the electronics because now we've got 3 Zs, an A and B, and an extruder. So we now need 6 stepper drivers. Well, to my knowledge, there's not a 6 stepper driver board. So because we had recently upgraded the brains in the LDO boron 2.4 kit, and we basically brought it from a Rev C to a Rev D by putting a Leviathan board and a uh, Nighthawk Stealth Burner board set in it. That freed up an Octopus board. But we don't have a way of mounting this on this printer. So what we started looking at, there was a design that I came across, and let me see if I still have it up here. Here. So there was a design that was here, and this is basically mounting the power supply at the front of the printer and making a box in the back, but this is still for a Raspberry Pi and the SKR Mini E3V3 and a couple of fans. So this still doesn't work for us, but it's a good concept. So what we started doing was developing a box for both the front, or actually for the front, that would hold the Big Tree Tech Octopus, right? So we did some measurements. We catted this out. We've got the mounting studs here for the Big Tree Tech Octopus, which is pretty nice because they're on a rectangle. It's not like one's offset or anything. And I decided to make a tunnel here to, because remember um, on that crossbar of a Ender 3, it's got that cutout to allow the wires to come. And normally what they do is they just provide some wire wrap around the wires to protect it from that sharp cut uh, that they make on CNC aluminum or on the aluminum. So what I decided to do is make a full tunnel here. This is a full tunnel um, for this part here, fully enclosed. And you'll understand why here in a little bit. And there's this other little cutout here. Because once again, we're using an Ender based frame. So that lines up with the cutout at the top of that 4040 cross member extrusion that would hold the Y rail. Now, we're not using the Y rail in this build, except we did because we used that for the rear cross brace to mount the third lead screw. So what I'm going to do is use this pass through to be able to bring uh, the power and the UART connection through between the Octopus board and the rear of the printer, which is where I catted up this other piece that will hold the Raspberry Pi. So the Raspberry Pi is going to mount right here with its USB ports and stuff like that facing the sidewall. And that's going to leave a lot of room here, other things. Other things like I haven't decided to yet, but I may go ahead and put a fan outlet on here and just have a fan sucking air down. And just put a couple of like cutouts in the top. Or what I may do is at the front, hang a fan um, from the top of the deck panel that's sucking air down in, and then put one, you know, add a fan out port in here basically that will suck air back out and exit down the back. Um, haven't quite decided it out. I may hang the other fan off the back of the deck panel. We'll see. I haven't quite decided how I want to do everything. But if I need to reprint this out, I'll reprint it out. It's not that big of a. But you'll notice that there's a large cutout back here. Well, that's to account for the motor mount in the back rear. Once again, we've got the cutout up top to allow for the cables to pass through up here, and a cutout at the bottom that lines up with the one coming from the other side. So I've got these printed out. I've test fitted and verified that the holes line up for the boards, but that's kind of where we're at. So I just wanted to rehash what we did. Last stream, we catted this out and I printed it. And we didn't stay on for the end of that print, but I did get that print done, and it does fit. The hole spacing for our Octopus board works out exceptionally. Once again, here is that printed piece. This is just some bed adhesion stuff that I had on there. Don't worry about that. We did, because this is a pretty large area, we did do some supports in here. And what I did when I popped those supports out is I did just go and file the top some just to try and get any roughness from the support interface out of it. But we've got this notch out here, we've got this tunnel, and we've got a hole on each side and two along the back that will allow us to use an M3 to attach it to the top of the 4040. And so if everything works out, we'll be able to take this and it would be able to slide straight in just like that. And you're saying, well, why didn't you add flaps to the side? Well, I didn't add flaps because on a standard Ender, you're going to have a screen hanging off to one side or the other. So we have a screen that we can hang off of one side or the other. And there's plenty of mounts for those. God, there's mounts for those all day. And then the other thing I can do is, because we have a cross member in the back, I took the plastic covers off the back, and we can just take these and pop them in, and that'll cover up that front cutoff, and we'll be fine. And I wanted that nice flat look. Now I made this 40 millimeters deep specifically because my plan is to run a sheet of ABS through my Shapeoko and cut out. Basically what I'm going to have is a straight sheet that comes across that'll have a cutout around our motor mount here. And I'll have it'll be wider than the motor mount to allow me to bring the Z motor wire down, and all of my cables from my umbilical will then be able to run straight down the side and into the back right here, and then I'll be able to bring my wires around. Okay. The Once again, our Octopus board lines up perfectly. However, what I don't like about this is there's a lot of flex in this. Not that it should be seeing a lot of flexing, but I didn't like it. So Rev 1 worked perfect, and it would work perfectly, right? But I just didn't like how flexible it was. So we went to Rev 2, which is literally just making the walls 3 millimeters. So it still flexes a bit, but it's a lot stiffer. Okay. I did go ahead and put heat sets in this because this is the one we're going to go with. Same thing, file down the inside here some, but Same amount of dimensions. I just increased the offset for the walls to 3 millimeters, and that's going to fit right there perfectly. We still got our nice cutout here. And then we catted up the rear, and I said, okay, let me print the rear. Started it. It was printing overnight. Everything was going good. Um, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. And I woke up in the morning to this, and it said it completed, which dumbfounded me because that's not 40 millimeters tall. Yeah. So we had a break in the filament, and then it cooked the filament in the hot end because it broke. Where it broke is between the bottom of the orbiter and the top of the tool head itself. There was some break somewhere in there. I was able to retract the filament, and I retracted about that much past where the gears had basically ground it down to nothing. So that was good. Um, but it took me a while to clean out whatever had baked in there. But I finally got it cleared out. Everything was looking good. But the nice thing was there was enough detail in here that I could tell whether this was lining up. I could tell whether the holes here for the um, Raspberry Pi, or in this case, I'm going to use a CB1 on a Pi 4 sled. So we'll roll like this because I have it. It's sitting here. It's ready to go. Um, and then we had this cutout for the back. Once again, I lined this up in the center and do the right amount of, you know, 2 millimeters more than the size back here, right? And what I found was because I had to bring this up from the bottom, as I was sliding it in, everything was going good, but this side was getting pushed down a little bit. I was like, huh, okay, because this piece here is, let me see if I can flip this around here. Crash, boom, bang. Let's sit that down there. What else did I send flying? Goes in there. That is a screw. Put that off to the side. This mount kind of slopes down. So what happens, let me see if I can get that sitting there. When I bring this around and go to lift it up in place, if I can. There we go. As I go to lift this up in place, it's catching on the edge there. So I need to make this a little bit, make the cut a little bit deeper. So I want to say this was 5 millimeters, so I made it 8 millimeters on the next rendition. So what that looks like, see if I can get this lined up, is just a couple more millimeters of distance there that it's going to have. So that should clear it and be able to come up flush with the bottom of the printer. And this is that new piece fully printed. So once again, this is going to line up with the center because it's spaced exactly the same. This cutout lines up with the other trough because it's cut out the exact same spot, just on the opposite side. And then this is cut out to go around our motor mount. The only difference is here I can put on like M3 bolts with hammerhead T-nuts, slide the whole unit in and then tighten it down, where here I've got to lift it up in there and I'm going to have to pre-place some T-nuts and then come in and screw them in, right? Correct. This, well, no, maybe, no. So this is the Pi 4 sled with a CB1. So this takes 5 volt. If I use the Big Tree Tech Pi, which I have as well, that one can take 24 volt. So that one can take 24 volt. So about what I need to do is, one, take these corners out that I use, because I do have these flat corners that came in. So these are in place. I'll need to take these other corners that I put in that were from the Ender 5. I'll get these out, and then I'll be able to slide in my other board, or my other plate. And what I did for the Octopus was I used on the Octopus, I used M3 heat set inserts. On the Raspberry Pi, I'm just going to connect it directly, I'm going to thread it in with screws, because the Raspberry Pi boards actually use a 2.5-inch. The Raspberry Pi boards use a 2.5 millimeter screw cutout versus 3 millimeter. So on the for the Octopus, I'm using M3 heat sets. Back here, I'm just going to go ahead and connect or screw it down directly with threaded, just thread into the plastic. I'll pop these out because these are M5s. And what I'll do is I'll put in M3. I can find this. All right. I'm going to turn this around so it's easier for me to work on. I'm going to try and dig out the M5s. I'll put in some M3s, try and get them aligned in the right spot, and then we'll get the rear board added in. That will allow me to put in the rear board so it's out of the way and in place. And then we'll work on the front one here, because that's where we're going to do most of our wiring and stuff anyhow, is in the front. Just going to try and see if I can find my rolling T-nut seat. Once again, this rear, because of the way I've designed it, I have to kind of lift it in from the bottom, where on the front I can slide it in because I have this rear cross member here. It's going to prevent me from doing like standard T, or not standard, like hammerhead T-nut. And what are we seeing? Hey, Cheney. Bought a box turtle and was looking at videos on how to put everything together and came across yours. Watched a few. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah, I may have put a couple of box turtles together here or there. I've actually built 5 of them. 2 of them or excuse me, 2 of them. 4 of them were built under the beta program because I was one of the beta testers. So they were self-sourced. And then the last one I did was an actual beta kit for the LDO kits that are out. So I really like the packaging that I was seeing on the LDO kits. That's really sharp packaging. Okay, and I'm dealing with reality frames, so these nuts never really go in decently. Just sounds wrong, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about when I say that. hopefully we do it this way. There's enough room that I can get these aligned fully. Yeah, it will be. Hopefully I'll be able to get these lined up with the holes so that when I lift it up, I can put my M3 bolts in, or at least be close enough. The decision to use black on a black frame, because, you know, blacking everything out looks really cool, but God, is it a pain in the butt when you're trying to line parts up. Once again, I'm just trying to get them, I'll say 90% there, and then I'll come in and I'm going to use some button head screws. If I can find my, or get to my button heads. And I am going to be nice to myself and use the silver screws versus the black screws here. Once again, what we're dealing with here is a completely custom electronics box here for our EnderXY build. So I can get this to pop up in the right spot. Hopefully I'll be able to get this started. That would be a negative. You be one of those times where having the ability to slide this in with hammerheads like we'll do on the front would be a lot easier, just because. Got yours from Isaac Tech? Okay. You should not have had to have flashed the AFC light board from the get-go. All the boards that I got from Isaac Tech were pre-flashed. So you shouldn't have to flash that board. The other reason I'm using button head screws for here is just because it'll be a little bit nicer as far as not catching things in here. And that, I think what happened was my thing may have rolled some. So on a, you know, if this was a LDO frame made with Misumi extrusions, then your things fit in there really nice and tight. On the Creality frames, they tend to roll back out. They don't stay flush because the Creality frames are not, we'll say 100% spec. And so that's what I'm having an issue with right now, is getting this thing lined up properly, where it doesn't roll forward, and then I have issues trying to line everything up. But we'll get there. It's part of the fun of doing a build, right? Trying to get everything lined up right. All right, so there's 2 in. Now I am going to turn this around some so I can see these other 2 a little bit better. Because once again, I'm probably going to have to do some aligning. Yeah, I'm going to have to use the ones that I just threw all over here again. Of course, the one that I need dropped out. Goes there. Bring this over here now. Oh, yep, that slid out of the way. Oh, that's going to suck. Now we got to figure out if I moved it to the left or to the right. Hey, Shrimp Father, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. I'm having fun here. I'm trying to line up some roll-in peanuts. And of course, if you've ever done roll-in peanuts on Creality frames, they don't like to stay wherever you put them. They tend to roll. Like they don't sit tight, so they tend to roll within the um, extrusion instead of staying upright and flat. So that's what I'm playing with right now, trying to get them lined up so that I can get these screws, all 4 screws in on this back panel. Because the back panel here, I have to basically slide up from the back side because it's I can't slide it in from the back. I have to slide it up from underneath because of this triple motor in here. So if I took this motor out, I could probably do like I'm going to do on the front, which is I would set up hammerhead T-nuts and just slide it in and fight with the hammerhead T-nuts. Maybe that one lined up. I'm going to say that's probably a negative. Well, it feels like it did. It didn't. It didn't. Darn you. Oh. So I got 2 in, and then the other 2 are going to be cantankerous for me. You've not had the pleasure? Yeah. I would say don't. Um, the instructions were telling you to flash and put in DFU mode. Okay. Yeah, I think I started to, and then I found out that because after I started to, somebody in the stream was like, "Yeah, you shouldn't have to do that," and I'm like, "Gee, now you tell me, thanks." Um, but the gang is really good. They're very helpful. They definitely will support you. I am a member of the Discord, and they do have a Discord help chat channel. So definitely reach out to the team, and they will try and look out for you. Hopefully, I got these lined up better this time. Appears to be 2 for 2. Now watch me have gotten the back ones out of whack now. So I'm putting these in with just 4 M3 screws. I think that should be enough to hold this in place. It's only holding a Raspberry Pi and some of the wires, so it's not like it's got a huge payload to hold in place. Same thing for the front. Again, it's not going to have a whole lot that it's got to hold in place. I think 4 screws should be enough. You know, some people may be like, well, 4 would be enough if you were doing M5s, but not M3s. Okay. If I need to, I will swap these out for M5s. Seems like I got lined up in there. The sides here are 3mm sides, and I printed them with a 6mm nozzle. So all of these prints were done on my rat rig using a 6mm nozzle. And for the love of God, this one's going to give me hell now. 6mm nozzle, 0.25 layer height. 6.5, 6.2, 6.5, I think, on the layer width. Whatever the standard is for Orca for a 6mm nozzle. This one's going to give me a hard time. It slipped one way or the other. Or, like I said, is kind of falling forward, which will also cause you problems trying to get the screw to line up. Once I get this one in, like I said, the Raspberry Pi is going to go in with a with just the 2.5mm screws directly screwed into the plastic, and then the Octopus in the front will get All right, so this is at least there, but the octopus in the front will get screwed down with M3 bolts. You're watching the SpaceX launch. Cool. All right, what do I want to do? I'm going to see if I can't get gravity to help me with that, with this last one. Because like I said, with the Creality quality rails here, or extrusions, the rolling T-nuts do not, I'll say sit in there in the appropriate way. They tend to fall forward. I think I may have just pushed that one. Yep, pushed that one completely out. So try and use, darn it, gravity once again to our advantage. All right, I might just have to play with this one later because it's going to test my patience. We'll work with that one later. What we'll do now is set up our front one, which I dumped on the ground over here. So it's going to be the same way. We've got 4 screws. All of them are 3mm. And we're going to go ahead and get those set up with some hammerheads, which apparently I love so much that I don't stock them over here on the bench. Let me grab 4 from over here. I apologize, I will get caught up on chat here momentarily. Okay. Oh, you're lurking, Westery? All right, sis. Hopefully that's going to take care of the animals. So once again, we're going to slide this straight back in there. So we're going to go ahead and get our hammerhead T-nuts started. Like 1-2 turns. Hey, Mini Vice, how's it going? Is this the same as the EnderXY? Concept? Yes. Same? Definitely not. It's the same thing as taking an Ender, a bed flinger Ender 3 and converting it into a Core XY. So it's the same concept, but I'm going to say it's not the same because I would say the EnderXY probably is a better bet at this point than the Additiva. Line up nicely there. Not, maybe I can wiggle and entice it. Anytime I feel like I have to twist and turn that much, I always feel like I've not got the hammerhead turned. Yes, it did. Yeah, the EnderXY and the EnderG are Core XY conversions of an Ender. The EnderNG, I believe, is better engineered if you're going to be doing things like high temp printing and stuff like that, because you can put an enclosure on it. This, you're not going to have an enclosure on it. This is just going to be for PLA and PETG. And just like that, our front box is on. Our rear box, once again, I've got one that's floating around in here. I'll have to try and get that lined up here, probably using a magnet. These way. Okay. So once again, both of these electronic boxes were printed out on the rat rig. And let me raise the bed up some. Hey, Tech Cheaper, how's it going? I thought I saw somebody say, I think it was Free Heathen that was watching the launch and said something about the that they had to, for the I think the bottom part of the rocket came back down, but the top blew up, or they were splashing down. It wasn't a fully successful. Booster lost comms. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, so once again, this is what we're left with. We've got a nice box here at the front. It's all nice and flush with the top and the bottom. We've got our box in the back. We've got a little bit of an air gap there, which is perfectly fine, right? A little bit of air gap is perfectly fine. Mounting spot for our Raspberry Pi in the back, and mounting studs for our Octopus. And I did go ahead and do these heat sets earlier. So let me kind of bring this a little bit closer. And we're going to mount our Octopus. And because of the way things mount, I'm going to put all of my motors at the back, because I've got pieces that are going to stick out on this end, and this end is going to have all of the power to it. So I want to be able to cleanly bring my power down, route it down through the loop, and then right in. And remember, this has a powered bed to it. So we have to have motor power, board power, bed power. So these are 3 inputs. and then a single bed that comes out that connects to this. So when we go to do that, well, I'm going to bring in the standard power from the Ender, and I'm probably going to get rid of this and just run my own power in. And then somewhere in here, I will break it out into Wagos, and then we'll just bring in 3 lines because I don't want to come in and like daisy chain these. So I do want to bring in 3 distinct lines for this, and then we'll just bring them down into Wagos and divvy them out. And once again, we're going to have a chute right here for all of our umbilical wires. So that's going to come down here and shoot down. And then we'll need to most likely extend these wires, which are the end stops for the X and the Z. So we'll need to bring these around, most likely extend those, bring them down and then back in. There's no real easy way to bring them in unless by whatever decision or chance I decide to just drill a hole underneath and kind of just loop it down, bring it up and go through. I don't think I want to do that just yet. We'll have to figure that out once we get there. The bed wires, once again, this is the full length of the bed wires. It is going to come down, same spot, so it'll come down here and have to go in. So either I'm going to set up some way of words are hard sometimes. Do basically a I'm sorry, I just had a thought. I wonder, I may just mount a set of Wagos up here like we do on a whatchamacallit, a V0. Set up a couple of Wagos here that we can just take this wire and rather have this big, come right into a set of Wagos right here at the rear mount, and then we have our wire runs made to those Wagos. I think that'll actually come out a little bit nicer than having this and then some type of junction underneath, because that means we'd still have to take the entire top plate off if we need to mess with the bed. So if we have to do any bed maintenance, having those connections right here that we can undo and then pop this off, I think would be a lot easier than having them under the deck or even back here at the back end. We'll think on that later. Right now, we're going to go ahead and get this mounted. We need some M3s, but 8s would be way too big. We should be able to get away with some M3 by 6s, which I should have over there already from when I took the board off of its mount. So got some M3 by 6s here. You'll find that we're going to do some mental, like, let's think through this on stream, because that's just how I kind of work. Even if I had a plan coming into the stream, once I get here and start looking at things, all bets are off. Okay, so how about this? M3 by 6s are going to be too long because these are M3 by 5 by 4, so they're 4 deep, plus a little bit of a gap for the board. Yeah, so the issue I'm going to be running into here is M3 by 6 are going to be too long because the I didn't make the pockets for the heat set inserts very long. So I mean, literally like M3 by 5 would work. 6 is going to be a little bit too long. So I want to say that I do have M3 by 5s or M3 by 4s somewhere. So give me 1 second to take a look. I had them for a very specific reason. Maybe not those. Not there. At least I thought I had some. Might have to circle back on those as well. That's not going to play. 3x4s. I think these M3x4s are countersunk, which technically would work still. Countersunk screws technically will work here. Make sure you don't crank them all the way down. Hey, Royal Nomi, how's it going? And of course, I've got stainless steel screws that are of the non-magnetic version. Always makes it easier to line things up in tight spots with fat fingers. So right now, this still has the purpose wire here that LDO Motors uses for their Raspberry Pi power. I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to use it. Because this is just power, right? This is just power. It doesn't have the UART. And the full UART stack would be right next to this. So I think I am going to pop this out. Because the way the LDO Motors runs is it's designed to use this adapter for power, and then it uses a USB cable for communication, which makes 0 sense to me. But if you're going to do UART, just do UART. Why mix both? Okay. That there will bring this, this, and this back in here. Okay. So how are you doing, Nomi? Taking a break from moving. Girl, what are you doing moving furniture around? Or I just sounded like your mama or something. That's lucky you don't decide to come all the way out to North Carolina and backhand me for that one. Okay. So since we're still here, I do have some 2.5x6 button head screws that we should be able to use here to put our Raspberry Pi. Once again, my plan was to just thread these directly into the plastic, provided I actually, oh God, what the hell? One of the ones I grabbed was a Phillips head. We do not want that one. Yeah, so the plan is these are 2.5x6 millimeters, and I'm planning on threading them directly into the plastic, provided they will. I sized the plastic holes right. Huh, that one's starting to go in. There's one. Hey, Kegel. Thank you for the lurk. I'm sorry, I thought it was lurk. That one, no, L-E-R-K. Oh, it's a lurk, but not the right lurk. But hey, Kegel, welcome on in. So Chewy, are you working Saturday or what's the deal? Hey, Mini Bice, welcome in. But yeah, this is an EnderXY, and there was no um, electronics mounts that I was able to find that would work for this. And even things like Teaching Tech's rear mounted thing wouldn't work with this. It might work to put it in front. Can't remember if I don't think the depth changed. So it might work in front, but you're still going to deal with um, words on stream, apparently. You're still going to deal with the like I missed that. Yeah, I decided I was going to flip this around, and literally I couldn't use any of the side ports because they are right up against the case. Don't ask me how I got that spacing right. But if I face the USB and stuff this way, so it's kind of out of the way, um, it, yeah, all of the other USB ports and stuff are like right up against the box. I'll say it was designed that way. Wow, this is coming out actually really good. Once again, the Octopus is put in with heat set M3 threaded inserts. The rear for the Raspberry Pi, in this case, is a CB1 module on a Raspberry Pi 4 sled. It's going in with M2.5 by 6 screws that are apparently being threaded right into plastic. Right, I could get the last one lined up right. Started. There we go. Considering I didn't do what I normally say to do, which is get all four started so you have some wiggle room and then screw them down. But I will show you kind of where I'm at there. He's back up. Guys in here. So there's our Octopus board all wired in. And once again, it's pretty close to the edge here. And I did that for a reason because we have to put some wires into these screw down terminals. So I wanted as much room as possible up here at front without extending past the front. And then same thing over here. I originally designed it with it flipped the other way. But if I was doing that, I could have moved it further over here because I didn't. These are offset. So they're here and here. So if I had them flipped around, then the board's kind of coming out this far. I was like, I can flip it around and get everything back there, but you see that puts these right up against the edge of the board. But that's fine. That is fine. That'll work. I don't really need access to any of the ports there anyhow, because those ports are what the 5-volt power and the two HDMI ports, and I don't really need either one of those. So it's fine that they're blocked off to the side there. And we've got our, we'll be coming from right here around through this top channel and then straight over to do the UART connection. So that'll be an easy cable for the UART connection. And then everything else is going to go through the tunnel here. We'll have the 3 power inlets, the bed out, our motors, and then our end stops and what have you. So everything else is going to pass through the channel here. And I am not sure if I'm going to do that stuff on stream, because that's going to be a lot of wiring. Because what we did in the past to get this started was we used a lot of the EnderXY, I'll say basic wiring, because the EnderXY it had extension cables and stuff like that. It was a good way to just get it started and test fit things. But now I'm really going to have to get down in here, and if I'm going to extend a cable, I want to extend it once. I don't want to have like 2 or 3 extensions and connectors in a cable. I would just want one connector if I'm going to do that. So, and once again, we've got currently the X end stop. If I can get it untangled from here. Oh. This is our X end stop, and it's mounted on the side of the gantry, which is great, except, this is going back and forth. And if we're coming off to the side like we had it, that works perfectly fine, because we had it coming over, we joined it into the cables, and that works great. But with having this piece in the back, what we're going to do now is bring this down the back and basically do the standard umbilical. I have caught. Do a standard umbilical where we come down along the back side. Ugh. Right, so we'll hook it up here somewhere. We'll come right down the back side, go into or underneath the back cover, through the front, and everything gets plugged in. And that includes our BL Touch, the whole 9 yards. So what we would want to do, keep these from being tangled any more than they are. We will most likely either, we'll probably remake some of these cables, but we'll take our X end stop and move it to this back plate somewhere, either the front or back, and we'll put some type of stopper here to trigger it. Or we could just leave it and go centerless homing, but if we come to the left, yeah, I'd still have to do something, because right now this is going to hit on the side on that pulley before it triggers, before it hits. So I'd have to create some type of stopping trigger for this before it caught that pulley, to do centerless homing. Like I said, it would probably be easier just to take this board and mount it to the backside of this piece, because once again, I went off the books for this build, right? This is not a standard EnderXY build either, because normally you would use a standard Ender 3 tool head, which I didn't want to do. So I paid for the upgrade. Oh, hey, Free Heathen, welcome on in, my friend. Welcome on in. Um, so I did two things. One, I got the upgraded hot end, which is an H2 hot end, right? Then I went and took it even further and put an H2 B2S Lite on here, which is an even smaller version of the H2 hot end. Because of that, well, that's going to be, because of that, the mount, I could not use the CNC mount that came with it. So I had to CAD up and fabricate my own, which I did here. So this was a standard mount, 3D printed mount that you could get for this extruder. So I got that, but I had to 3D print this mount. So what I need to do is see if I can take this end stop, flip it 180 degrees, and mount it to the back here. And if I can, great. If I can't, we're just going to say I can't, because I should be able to unscrew this top and bottom, mount it right here with some lock nuts on this side so it's squished through, and then it's going to start triggering on this versus being mounted on this. It would trigger against this. And that should enable me to do that. If I have to, I'll make this a little bit longer, but I think that's doable. Oh, Free Heathen. How about this? So we designed this, we catted this on the last stream. It's flush with the front on both sides. It holds our BTT Octopus board, which we're going to need after adding our third lead screw. So we got this laid out. It's a 250 by 125 box. So that's pretty easy. We laid in the cutout up here, and down here we made a full tunnel. So that's a 40-40 tunnel that leads through here. So that protects our wires from this cut aluminum. The one wire that's going to go up here is going to be a UART that provides power and communication between the BTT CB1 on a Pi 4 sled and the controller board. Then we had to do the same thing back here. As you can see, we made a cutout to go around this mount, and we set up for a Raspberry Pi. Now this is threaded directly into the board or into the plastic, where this is using heat set inserts. It's got a, whoops, come around this way. It's got a cutout that lines up with the trough that we did from the front case. So we have a fully protected tunnel for our wires. We've got 4 M3 screws that hold this plate in. And I'll just, whatever wires I put here, I'll wrap up with some electrical tape or maybe some heat shrink to protect it. And then the plan, let me bring you guys back around here. The plan will be to cut a sheet of 3mm ABS that just slides right across the top, and I'll have a cutout here, and that cutout's going to be sized a little bit larger so that all of our wires here, I can get all of my wires, will come down this umbilical straight down through the front cover right here and be able to route around and go in nicely. Now the big thing is I don't know if I'm going to use all of this wire here, because you'll see there's various connectors already. And that's because these are, a lot of these wires I took off of and reused from the, whatchamacallit, the Ender 5. So I need to take like this wire and get it in the wiring loom and some other stuff. And I'm going to have to think my way through that. I don't know if I'll think my way through that on stream or not, because that can hurt for both me and you all. Oh, box. That was a lot like a machine you designed. Yeah. Um, looks like mad science. Well, I did, we did go off the books on this simply with the tool head. I could literally take this tool head off, put on a standard um, Ender 3 hot end, right? It go back to the CNC mount with an Ender hot end. I could add a BL touch or add a Penda probe to it and wire everything up, and my life would probably be a lot easier. But what's the fun in doing that? Um, where do you get your sheet ABS? I buy it off of Amazon, and I have plenty of it. In fact, I've got some sheets over here that I probably like. There's a sheet that I had cut something from, and there's enough right here that I can size, cut out the main sheet on my circular saw, and then all I need to do is either lay out and hand drill a couple of spots to um, I can do this all on the or on hand tools. I don't need to do the CNC for this because I can cut the base shape, which is going to be a square or rectangle. Uh, all I got to do is get my measurements right, and I can hand cut it on the table saw, lay out where I'm going to do the holes, and drill the holes for the M3 button head screws or M5 button heads, whatever I want to use to put in, at the very least, front, back, side to side. And then here, it's just going to be a U-shaped cutout. So I just need to measure out, figure out the depth and stuff, make that cut, boom, I'm done. And that plate will just slide straight in over the top and cover everything up. But yeah, I get my ABS sheet and I get my acrylic sheet that I'm going to cut and make myself off of Amazon. Dang, I'm out of coffee. Have you seen the pug umbilical for on printables? Would be perfect for keeping track of those wires in the back. The pug umbilical on printable. I have not. Let me pull that up. But yeah, Free Heathen, we I know you like your Tinkercad and stuff, but we went full Fusion 360 here for the back box and the front box. And I'm going to take these and export them out as step files and put them up on printables or things and whatnot. Add them to the collection that's already out there for all of these. God, that's a long motor wire. Yeah. And yeah, so we're gonna be working on this stuff, trying to get this wired up. I have to think through like the X here, but if I need to CAD up some other parts, I'll CAD up some other parts and get this stuff put up. But yeah, this worked out really well. Um, this was another design that somebody did, which looks really good. It mounts the power supply in the front and uses the standard Raspberry Pi, and if you're using your standard Big Tree Tech SKR Mini E3 V3 board, that would work as well. But adding that third motor in the back negates the ability to use that. Parametric umbilical gland. Okay. Yeah, that there's many printed parts that you can put in there, but every printed part that I've printed out and put in there, it's loose and it just rattles around. This being part and parcel of this front box, it slots in perfectly. It's a snug fit. And do you lose some, do you lose some of the space? Yes, but you're going to take a bunch of cables and slide them through there. It's not like you need all the space in the world. There's plenty of space to run all your cables through. So printables is where I'm at right here. Let me close that. You said pug, and it's going to give me dogs. So let me do said printed. Oh, there you go. You provide the link. That would probably just be a lot easier. There you go. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. Eh, maybe. Maybe. We'll see. You can mount that to the ABS sheet. Yeah. How's it going, Wick Allen? Welcome in. Is there any cooling? So right now, there's no cooling in this. Um, Part of my thought was I wanted to see how my wiring was going to go. I think I've got plenty of room right here in the back, right here in the back where you can't see. Um, if I run my wires down and around here, maybe just using some stickable, still can't see. Okay. I was working on trying to add some fans here. That's not going to work because of course there's no way for a fan to pull from there. So I have room I can put a fan in the bottom over here. I have room I can put a fan like right here. But I need to get some cooling over this area here. This is going to heat up more than that. So what I was kind of doing was thinking about how I'm running my wires, and I can potentially put a fan like on the underside of the um, top plate right here, and I would put some type, just even if it's just nylon, right? Some nylon from a pair of pantyhose, stockings, right? To cover that fan so nothing can fall into the fan blades. Stretch some nylon, mount it up, or glue the nylon around it and mount up a fan that's an intake here and then blowing out of the bottom either here or over here in the back corner, and that will provide airflow through this channel and this channel between the two. So that would allow me to add ventilation a little bit better. I could do the same type of thing, doing everything completely on the deck panel, but I don't think I'll be able to do that without doing two separate deck panel halves. And I don't really want it. I think having one deck panel would be fine. Um, well, maybe that won't work either because of the way this would have to slide in underneath the motors. It's going to have to be slid straight in. I'm not going to be able to do any flapping. So I'd either have to do two different pieces. I could potentially add fan here in the front or something. I don't know. I haven't thought about ventilation is basically what I'm saying. Maybe I wind up reprinting this with some type of grill holes in the front, some type of designed pretty grill holes, and then just put a fan in the back at the bottom deck, blowing down at the bottom of the printer. I think that should work. But yeah, I hadn't completely thought it through yet. I mean, there is room at the bottom for an underslung fan as well. So the fan mounted externally at the bottom because you are on feet. But I'm trying to keep everything internal. Um, so we'll see. And have I been thinking about it? Well, we'll say I was over here looking at measurements, and I did CAD up. I have CADed up spots for this, and then I took them back out of the sketch. Um, I'm I'm still thinking about it. Still thinking about it. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. What we've been working on. I do need to work on the wiring, and I just like I said, I need to think my way through it and figure out, what cables I'm going to use. If I'm going to use the cables I have on there, or if I'm going to redo something, which ones I need to extend, and which ones I'm just going to cut and go with. The wires for the bed. Once again, I think what I'm going to do on the bed, let me do the overhead here. I think what I'm going to do on the bed is mount something here, or underneath of here. But on this printed part here, I'm going to mount the a set of Wagos so that the bed wire goes straight to the Wagos for both the um, power and the thermistor, right? And then yeah, then we'll come from that and go right into the umbilical. Actually, we wouldn't be able to go into the umbilical there. Might just have a separate umbilical that comes out, but it'll be easier that way because I'm going to have to extend or do something with these wires regardless. I think having them come up to the bed and then having basically a quick disconnect system here so that we can take the bed on and off if we have to do work on it would be more of a quality of life thing. And then once again, like I said, I need to figure out something um, for the mounting of the end stop and triggering of the end stop over here. I think we should be able to do it. It's basically just disconnect it from here, mount the two holes here, and still have it trigger up against this existing stop, which is just off the screen. Just off the screens. This is the stop I'm talking. Let's not break the printer, Luke. So yeah, I think we're close. It's just yeah, me and my brain, I've got to think through a couple of things. These wires, I think I'm just going to wind up extending and running up, making them longer, so that they'll come down around the bottom, pop back up, and go down through the back here with the rest of the umbilical. That way they're out of the way. Right now they're running, they come down, loop across, and run down this upright. So I guess technically, rather than bringing them down this one, I can continue to run them along the back, drop them down this back upright, and bring them around. Might do that. But anyhow, that's kind of where I'm at. I didn't want to get into wiring today. I've been enjoying talking about this process and the thought process and how we're doing this. 'Cause that's kind of fun, believe it or not. It allows me to geek out some. Pull cooler air up and push out some side vents. Yeah, that's true. I mean, I keep sitting there thinking, okay, I need that, but yeah, like you said, if I'm able to put air air sucking in air here and potentially, um, I still don't think I'm going to get one here. But yeah, you're right. put some vents, like drill some vent holes or create some vent holes in that side panel, we can just naturally let the air vent up, right? That's a possibility. It all depends on how I'm able to route the wires and keep the wires nice and over to the side. That would possibly free up an option for adding a fan right here, but I'd have to do it from underneath in order to bring some air into this front chamber. But we'll see. We'll have to see how it plays out. I'm still playing around with it. Let's put it that way. And for the first prints, I'm probably not going to have any cover on this electronics panel at all. Because it's going to be easier to have stuff accessible while we're tinkering. I will bring the wires down. I will route them nicely. I will keep it clean. But then beyond that, it'll be, um, more along the lines of how do we get some cooling in here when we go to close it up. And for that matter, do we put a black plate on here and cover it up, or do we put a clear plate on here and make it stand out? That's kind of an option as well. So the power supply is out here. The power supply is completely on the side and it's external to the boards. So the only thing generating the board heat in here is the boards itself. So the 2209s and then the Raspberry Pi, or not the CB1, right? Yeah, exactly. Depends on how neat the wire turns out and how much time I want to put into making the wiring look so neat. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm still thinking through some of it. Got some ideas. We'll see how that plays out. But really, folks, that's kind of all I had for tonight. Um, I'm I'm a bit brain dead, and I've got to use some of my brain cells with Mrs. Dragon to figure out and get things prepped for Saturday stream. We will work on this into next week, starting Tuesday. We're just going to have to try and figure out how best to run this. If you go clear, then you got to add RGB. Well, there you go. Now I'm going to be putting a black panel on it. I'm teasing. We'll see. I've got thoughts. We'll see how it goes. But thanks everybody for being here. I really do. I appreciate everything that you guys do and how much you guys have supported me over this last couple of years and going into the future endeavors. Hopefully, fingers crossed, there may be another surprise on Saturday. If not, then very, very soon. Very, very soon, there will be some branding reveals happening. So be on the lookout for those. Let me see who is live right now that we can possibly raid into. Can't wait for Saturday. So Chewy, when did you say are you working Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon? What's up? Polymaker's still running. Is anybody over in the Polymaker? Like, are they about ready to be done? Or are they still kind of in the thick of things? No, he's got somebody on there. He's got Dreamboy on there. Here we go. So RGB adds some PPS. Yeah. No work this weekend? Awesome, Chewy. That means you should be here for the whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and get a raid started over to Polymaker. Once again, thank you everybody for being here. Thanks for supporting me. I really do appreciate all the support that you guys provide to me. Polymaker is one of the folks that's supporting the stream on Saturday. So please join me over there as we raid over there. Show them the love, show them the support. They support so many of us in the community. So yeah, please definitely go with us as we raid over and show Polymaker some love. Thanks everybody, and I will see you guys. But today is Thursday. God. Yeah, I will see you guys Saturday morning. I swear I will have my brain working, I think, and be able to speak, consistent, unbroken English and complete sentences with enough give coffee, of course. But thanks everybody for being here. I will see you guys on Thursday. Yeah, WTF, exactly. Good night, everybody. I'll see you guys Saturday morning. Bye now. Yeah, get some rest. Yeah. Okay. And for those of you that are watching this stream later on, either VOD or over on YouTube, if you're on YouTube, you're going to get a symbol over here to like and subscribe. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell to get notifications of new content being posted. There's content being posted all the time. YouTube's going to suggest another video over here. But for now, take care and have a good one.